Hey man, I'm behind the camera right now. I'm trying to make sure I'm all set up here. Welcome, Daniel Ruiz. Shout out. Doing much better. I wasn't feeling too great yesterday, so I'm a little wonky today, but better. And so I got an opportunity to build this sled, basically this jig. Thursday is actually my favorite day of the week, low key. Underdog, underdog favorite day of the week because when you're a working stiff, you have Friday, you look forward to your weekend. That's always the best feeling. By the time it's Saturday, the weekend's half over and all of that. Now I'm gonna set my microphone over here so I use the screw gun. It's not overwhelming. Put it behind this little sound shell. Yeah, it is Thursday. It's a special Dad's workshop because I didn't get it in yesterday. Although my internet is not looking great, looking a little fuzzy here. Yeah. Yeah, man. Whatever day is paid. Yeah, when I get paid, if it's a Monday, I love Mondays. I know how it is. But we're gonna do due diligence on this, and we're gonna glue these up too. So let me go through that. Because when we do woodwork like this, usually we glue and screw. So I put these countersunk holes in there. I'll walk up to the camera and show you the counters. I didn't take a lot of care to where I put them, just made sure they were not on the wall. I'm kind of like almost this. So I've got two end pieces here, countersunk holes drilled in them so that the screws are flush. And we're going to put them on here like this. Let me check that chat. I did not cut this stump myself. I've done stump tables before where I cut them myself, but this stump was cut by a power company. All I did was trim it to about the right size that I wanted. Let me check my internet. This is looking bad. America in VR. Good question. Question by Ruiz was, did I cut the stump out myself? And the answer is not this one. This one was cut out by a power company, Dominion, I think, trying to tree stump out in Emporia. And I saw that it was relatively flat, and I left it because when it was wet, it was about like 100 pounds, and I shoved it in the back of the truck. And I've had my son sand down the top, but this side is not even. So what we have to do is we have to take this router sled. We're not going to do this on live today. Probably next time I do live. And we'll set the router sled up once I have my platform, and we'll take the sled over the piece. I will take these undisclosed company screws. Let me get my glue too. I'm just going to take like a fingertip of glue and put it on the contact points here. Maybe a little more than a fingertip. So you can't really level one of these stumps with a normal plane for a bunch of reasons. It just is not going to end up even. You might get somewhat flat, but you're not going to get completely flat. And it has to do with the grain direction in a stump. You're planing in the opposite direction and in wonky directions. You don't usually go. So I might clamp this up before I screw it, but I don't want to stand right in the way either. All right, so I applied some glue to the end of this. One side on, and the glue will just secure what we've already tried to secure. Oh, this is just regular conventional pine from the big box hardware store. Oh, the stump. Danny said, what kind of wood is the stump? Or Ruiz asked, what kind of wood is the stump? It is oak. It is an oak stump. So typically with an oak stump like this, you want to take a lot of material off because it's so heavy that it would be cumbersome. We'll probably take at least an inch to an inch and a half of material off. It's going to throw a lot of chips through the air and stuff like that. So probably something we do outside. Probably starting these screws like this with the hand is the best way to do it. Well, I sold one. That's a great question. Rui said, how much would a piece like that run? So if he's talking about the stump table, I sold the stump table to a lady in DC that I made out of pecan. The stump table sold for $700, man. She really loved it. I haven't talked to her in a while, but she was very happy with it. This is tricky. I'm gonna clamp this up, probably for the next one. Use gravity to my advantage right now. Now we glued and screwed both sides on. So we have our sled. Let me show you what I'm going to put under the sled. Yeah, I use this. I have this branding iron. Not somewhere here. I don't need to take it out, but oh, here it is. This was made by Gerhardt Industry, and I'll plug them because they're a small business and I don't need their money. This is a branding iron right here. It has a little beaver on it, and it has my signature. And whenever I make a piece, I put it on a stove or on a fire, and I heat it up till it's pretty hot, and then apply it to whatever piece I'm making. And that's like my maker's mark that I've used for over 10 years. Man, I love concrete. I'm a big fan of concrete, man. If I ever get rich, I'm gonna have concrete countertops. Well, my platforms that I glued up are probably close to ready, so I'll pull those out and be like Bob Vila right now. I can't put these under stress. But here's the platform that I created. This is all in the short if you watch the short. Some amazing music by the Foghorn String Band, shout out. Probably a little bit early for me to take these out of the clamp. Here's one leg, so it's gonna sit up on there like that. And I'll show you the other one. These platforms, and they had to be this high because, as you see, the stump is at least 5 inches tall. So what has to happen is these have to be attached as well. Let me move this stump off to be able to attach them right now. I'm okay. I'm not gonna comment on that, Ruiz, because I'll get canceled if I say something like. And I'm not racist. I'll let you make the make the jokes, and I'll just chuckle at them. It probably should be attached to the end like this, but that doesn't give me enough height, so it's gonna have to go like this. Ruiz says, "Do you ever find it hard to explain the saying I can show you better than I can tell you?" Because yeah, I mean, as a teacher, uh, I had to learn how to explain things. You can't just do things for kids. Not that you all are kids, you're grown people and all that. But it's warm here, a little too warm for my tastes, to answer your weather question. But yeah, especially when you know a lot more and they need like a depth of knowledge to understand it, most definitely. Especially many times with music in my life, trying to explain stuff. Um, it's like when my cousin, who's a PhD research scientist, was explaining the HIV protein to me, and I had no idea what he was talking about because they understand enzymes and train, enzymes and how they interact with each other. Uh, we have to have most science people have to explain things to us in a way like that's basically you humanize the different scientific particles. The cell responds to the the enzyme by doing A, B, or C. So like when someone explains science like that to me, and they're using the real scientific, like on Wikipedia, look up the HIV protein. And they're saying on there, it's all scientific. It's correct, but it's nothing I understand. Definitely need to countersink these holes in here because we can't have a screw get in the way. I got my countersink bit here. You can countersink without a countersinking bit. What you have to do is you got to take a larger drill bit and put tape around it to a certain point, and then drill down with that tape. Then put your smaller bit on there and drill down with the smaller bit. Hopefully that's straight enough. My little box of screws go. Here we go. Drive the screw in below the surface because it's It's attached to the leg here. I can't fit a screw in there. I mean, if I did a pocket screw, probably, and we'll get talking about pocket screws again. Go down that rabbit hole. If I was to put a couple inch long screw in here, I can tell you right now it would pop out the side. That seems pretty firm, actually. Probably put another couple in there just to be sure, though. I'm being eaten by mosquitoes in the garage. That's my problem when it warms up, is the mosquitoes, man. They love my blood. Besides the fact that my body just does not tolerate heat. There we go. We have our sled. Maybe not perfect, but I strove to make sure that the sled was as accurate as possible, as precise in its dimensions as possible. Oh, it's Miss Heather. Miss Heather's here. This table is for her. My internet is.
It is. I'm gonna came in here to work on your lighting and your internet.
Maybe move that where the curtain is. Maybe the curtain's in the way. I don't know. That's really the best spot for it. Yeah, no, I don't specify with different screws. I generally use Craig's. I shouldn't even plug their name, but I generally use Craig screws for all my applications, pretty much, with wood. Maybe that's a little expensive for a lot of people's taste, but I don't use that many screws, so it doesn't cost me a lot. I try to do most of my stuff with joinery, not to be a snob, joinery and dowels. All right, let's move the sled. I'm gonna move the sled for a second. Actually, you know what? I think I should put a couple more, because I don't know if one screw on each side is really gonna do it. I wonder if I can sink one right there. Yeah, probably one right there, one right there. Let me do that. Due diligence. With that. This shouldn't have to hold any weight at all. Or are you talking about the screws? Yeah, Robertson screws. That, yeah, you're right. Square heads. Right. Craig screws are meant to hold a lot of weight, man. They're used in furniture pocket screw applications, so they have to have a high tensile strength. Like, they have to have a strength for that. They're not going to sell you. I would hope they wouldn't sell you screws that couldn't hold weight. They're meant to be in like real high tension pocket screw situations.
Hey Daniel. And Ruiz.
What table? Which table, I should say. Oh, so this is not a table. This is a jig. I'm going to show you in a second. Actually, the side that really needs the most planing is the other side. Now, my bench is not level, but for the purposes of a explanation, you see what the chainsaw did to that side right there? It's rounded off. Now, they did a pretty decent job chopping this down. You know, these guys do a lot of that. Usually migrant worker types. They cut down a lot of trees. And this is the router sled. So what happens is you take your router, which is over there. I can grab it though if you're busy. Okay?
Yep.
Hopefully no one's epileptic. So here's the router. I cut the dimensions of the router by tracing the bottom of the router on a board first to establish where the inside dimension was, the inside diameter, and the outside diameter. That's too high. So I think my next step here, because it's still a little bit too high, board up under it. Probably prop it up with 2x4s. The router slides just like this. You're just mowing along with this thing, back and forth until you get level. And I told you I probably wouldn't do that on today's live, so I don't want to be a liar. Let's see if there's a way I can prop the stump in a level fashion. Now, probably in this particular case, a lock switch like this. You're probably going to lock the router in place. That's a little bit low, I think, because I put boards up under it. So that's going to take a lot of material off, most likely. Actually, that's not bad right there. You want to give it a pass? Can you plug me in so I can give it a pass? I feel like this content is too good for 7 people. It's like super educational content.
I'll make it a video.
All right. I've never used one of these before. Take this microphone so I don't blow.